When I started here in the public school system as a first grader, I needed a lot of external motivators. I really did. I didn't start off as the greatest of students. In first grade, my first week of school with a spelling test, I hid a little cheat sheet under my desk. I'm not kidding you. And my teacher found it, and my parents lived about a block away from school, and my mom kept walking over to the school and meeting with teachers, and I thought, well, that was strange. Why was mom coming in to see my teachers? And the next year, I decided that I'd save all my straws from lunch, and I'd connect them into a big, long hole, and I put a flag at the top, so if I had to have a question and nobody would recognize me, I'd raise this flag in my class. And I got in trouble for that, too. So, you know, I had lots of ways that I was trying to sort of, I guess, focus. And then in fourth grade, I had a great teacher named Flora Mingus, who was wonderful, who actually wrote a play called Victor's Time Machine. And so the whole school participated in this play, but I had to memorize pages and pages and pages of dialogue for this play. But it was a wonderful experience. It sort of helped me realize that somebody was going to support me and help me and develop some of my skills and interests. And, you know, from that point on, you know, as I went through the rest of schooling and went into college, I had professors to help motivate me as I got into, you know, medical school and then into residency and fellowships. Then again, I developed some internal motivators, some people that I looked up to were role models, and each of those people went through and they said, you know, this is a level that you could really work toward if you have a plan and you can apply yourselves. And some of their suggestions were really tough. You know, they suggested I look at colleges that I thought were probably too hard, or I looked at training schools for after medical school. I went to Vanderbilt to train and stayed on faculty there, and I thought that was really an awfully ambitious project, but I had people along the way that helped motivate me. Some of the other motivators I had, my dad, who was a veterinarian in town here forever, was a wonderful motivator, a great role model. I worked with him, and I think I learned a lot about patience and about listening to people and really listening to what they had to say.
My daughter, I think, was in third grade. I picked her up at school, and when we came home, she asked me, I asked her if she had any homework. She said no, and she said, what is in your briefcase? And I said, well, that's my work work from home that I need to bring home from work. And she said, will you bring work home every day? And I said, yes. And she said, well, why don't they just put you in a slower group? Well, I feel like that way today. You know, I earned an appreciation for education very early in my life. In the 8th grade, everybody had to study Kentucky history, and our book was a yellow book with Daniel Boone on the front, written by 2 PhDs, Dr. Thomas Clark, a world-renowned historian of Kentucky, and the other one was my grandfather, Lee Kirkpatrick. He was superintendent of the Paris school system for many years, married a teacher. Both of my sisters were in education, either teaching or administration, so I learned very quickly the importance and value of education. I was very fortunate because although I did not have the prowess to be able to be on the basketball or our award-winning baseball team the years that I was at Owensboro, I found my own team in student government and the Rose Curtain Players. And I learned the same lessons that many of our others recipients and inductees learn as well. Patience, persistence, teamwork, rehearsal, depending on other people. I learned as much outside of the class as inside of the class, and this school system took me from being a show-off into somebody that could pull a show off. So I am very appreciative of all of the teachers, 2 of which I invited to be here with me today, and unfortunately, Bob Goddad couldn't be. He was just diagnosed with a terrible brain tumor and is in Duke Hospital on his way back to Owensboro because they took it out, and he's going to be okay. So it's a very special day for me and all of us from the class of 1970. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this great ceremony.
Good afternoon. Wow, I can't believe it's been over 40 years since I graduated from here. What a lot of awesome memories. I was in the 100th graduating class, so that speaks for the true tradition of OHS. I'd like to thank Lori Thurman, I think she's back there in the back, and I think David Kirk Thank you very much for putting this program together. And I'd like to thank my family that are sitting back there. They have been my true support structure. My husband, John, who is also a veteran, my sisters, Patty, Debbie, and Lisa, who are also OHS graduates, and my brother-in-law, Joe. Thank you. And now to the current students of OHS. Enjoy high school. This will be some of your best years. Make new friends, make lifelong friends. You'll have your favorite teachers. If you haven't already, get involved in extracurricular activities, whether those are sports or whatever you're interested in. My sisters and I ran track when we were here. I was very fortunate. They are still my best friends. No crying, Patty. As I look back on my life, I've been truly fortunate, and I feel very honored and humbled to receive this award. And thank you again for nominating me.
I became myself in high school. Always just a little bit different. Didn't really always follow the crowd, although in high school you kind of want to. Or it's kind of, what they want expected of you, what you think is expected of you, probably more to the point. And I kind of marched to my own drummer. God love Beverly Shelgren's heart. She could not teach me chemistry. It's not here. It's not here. But government, fantastic. Literature. Where I wasn't understanding formulas, I understood Shakespeare, and I understood history and government. So I found me, and I found my strengths, and I found my love, and it was when our senior government trip. We went to Washington, and I saw the Hoover building, and I said, I'm going to work there. I'm going to work in that building. And sure enough, that's been what I've done since I graduated from Owensboro, and that's what it's really taught me is I can do anything I want to do. So I graduated from here, went to Russia. That was the school that was right for me at the time. So again, do what you need to do, march your own drummer. Went to school there, worked on Capitol Hill for a semester, said I want to go to law school. I want to do some sort of servitude that way. I went to law school. Then 9/11 happened. And rather than go on behalf of practicing law, which not a selfish purpose, I really wanted to do something with government, but I really wanted to serve. So I remember that day. It was a beautiful day outside, crisp, cool, fall morning. It was gorgeous. And it changed my life forever.
I want to thank some particular people that are with me here this evening. First and foremost, my gorgeous wife who's there. We went all through high school here. We spent a lot of time rendezvousing at the lockers on whatever floor we were. So we dated all through high school, all through college, and got married before I went into the military. So I thank her very much. She's been a very tolerant person. I've had more careers, I assure you, than anybody in this room. I retired in the school system when I was 49. Everybody said, you're crazy. I said, crazy? I can draw all this money in retirement, and I can go out and get another job. And I didn't know if we did another 3 or 4 jobs because I tire things. About 5 years, I'm pooped out, okay? So I left, and then Mayor Dave Axton asked if I'd run a workforce development agency to put it together. So I did that for 5 years, and Dave moved to the chamber. So why don't you come down and work at the chamber with me, Fred? So I went down to the chamber, and about 5 years later, I thought, I'm really kind of tired of working every day. I think I'll take a little break. So I went to work for a consulting company out in Nashville, Tennessee, consulted with schools literally from Maine to California and from Minnesota to Florida. Worked in about 20 states in those 5 years. And then I was really ready to retire. And my good friend Nick Braycall said, we're getting ready to do some downtown redevelopment, Fred. Would you consider coming down and helping us with that? And I thought, that sounds kind of fun, because I grew up downtown. I grew up in the old Frederica Flats building, which is where U.S. Bank is now at 7th and Frederica. And every time the rent gave due, we'd move to a different apartment. It didn't cost quite as much. I went through Owensboro Public Schools my entire life. I love all the school systems, particularly Owensboro High School. Also, I have with me today, I want to introduce my terrific daughters, Andrea and Lisa, who are both Owensboro High School graduates. My son-in-law, Dave, who's an engineer in Louisville and a great guy. Have 2 pretty good grandkids. I asked Owen if he would speak for him, but he decided, he wanted to originally, but he decided he wouldn't. Owen is my grandson, and Sydney is my granddaughter, and my Aunt Martha, who lives down the street from me. My really good friend and fishing buddy, Harley Trogdon, who takes care of me. All I had to call Harley and say, what do you need? And that's the way he is. And then I was nominated for this award, I think, by my good friend Steve Ham, who we lost about a year ago, and I miss him every day. And his wife Sally, she represented Steve. So. And I don't see probably bugging committee every year and said, when are you going to get Freddie? When are you going to get Freddie? And y'all probably had to hide him, see, when he come running around. But I could have probably gone to any high school and had a good time, done the end zone thing and had my friends, but I did that at Owensboro High School. Two things at Owensboro High School really contributed to me that I think made a difference in my life. And as trite as it is, Coach, football was one of them.
I was on the first girls track team. Coach Joe Fowler was the person who started that. She got a bunch of us girls together and said, let's start a track team. And so we did. And that was back in 1965, I think. And anyway, we won the state tournament my senior year. But before we went to the state track meet, we practiced out on the football field. And so we did our timings, you have to run all these sprints and whatever. And I was a hurdler and a short distance runner. And so one day we were doing sprints and someone beat me. And I'm like, how could that be? That can't beat me. So Miss Fowler said to me, Pam, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Your timing was not good today, so I'm going to put this other girl in this meet. And I said, so I'm not going to run? And she said, no. And I said, well, I'm quitting track. Because I knew that I just had a bad day. You have an off day. So anyway, so I told her I was quitting. And so the next day at school, our principal was Principal Joe Brown. And he would make these announcements over the loudspeaker every morning, and he had this voice that would just make you rock. So this morning, the speaker came on, and Principal Brown said, Pam Smith, make it down here to this office. And I'm going like, what? And everybody in the class was going like, what in the world did you do for him to call you to the office? And I'm going like, I have no idea. And when I got to the office, he was standing at the door waiting on me. And he said, I understand you quit the track team. And I'm trying to figure out, how does he know this stuff? And he said, is that true? And I said, yes. And he says, do you want to graduate? I'm going, what's quitting the track team have to do with me graduating? And he says, if you want to graduate from Owensboro High School, you're not a quitter. He says, I will be at practice this afternoon, and if you're not there, you're not going to graduate. Wow. So that afternoon, I went to track practice, and I looked up, and setting up in where the press thing is, in the stadium, there sat Joe Brown. I'm telling you that to tell you this. Teachers care about you. Had no idea that someone would care about this little colored girl at that time. It was awesome to know that someone cared that much about you. And that has made me who I am today. To try to do the right things for the right reasons, and to help people when I can, and I give that advice to you to do the same.
I can't tell you that I'm the oldest daughter of Jess Gill Sterrett. I want to recognize my mom, Jan Sterrett, because she was Bill's better half, if you will. She was the rock of our family, and she made my dad who he continues to be today, which is a legacy. I also want to recognize my sister, Christy Sterrett, Eisenbarger, who just recently moved back to Owensboro, and we're so glad to have her here. Our family is now all back together. And of course my brother, Trey Sterrett, who continues to lead the legacy of Sterrett Construction. So I am the oldest daughter of Bill Sterrett. I guess that's why I'm up here, because I am the oldest. My family and I would like to thank the committee and let you know how much we appreciate you honoring our father and husband, Bill Sterrett, in such a respectable way. What a deserving man in so many facets of his life. Those of you that knew Bill, I can't call him Bill, I guess those of you that knew my dad, you probably know that there aren't enough words to describe the man that he was and continues to be today. We are, as a family, I guess a definition of Bill. He coached us, led us to be the people that we are today. And again, anyone that knew Bill, you know what an amazing man he was and what an honor this is. What I wanted to do today is to kind of take the facets of his life and explain why we think he's so deserving of this. As a husband, my mom can tell you that he was loving, respectful, loyal, and a true gentleman. As a father, I had to limit the words here because there were a lot of words that I could have used, but first and foremost, a wonderful teacher, a provider, a protector, and an amazing role model. As a businessman, he was extremely trustworthy, ambitious, dedicated, and very successful. As a friend, very dependable, a good listener, supportive, and empathetic. My dad was all of these qualities every day of his life. Because he was such an outstanding man, his life was full of accomplishments and achievements, which makes this award, for our family, it's a given. But to truly be honored by OHS and the committee is such an honor for our family, and I know if Dad were here today, it would be an amazing honor for him. Because he was such an outstanding man, his life was full of achievements and accomplishments. He served in the Army, built a well-known business, set records in hydroplane racing, contributed to the community. But perhaps his greatest achievement in life is his family, the family that I'm proud to call my family.
The best stories were always the basketball stories, and basketball for him started here. So after he played high school here, of course he wanted to stay in Kentucky, like every other basketball player, I guess. But maybe he was too short, I'm not quite sure, but Rupp was not knocking on the door. But the University of Alabama was. So he got on the train, reluctantly, to go to Alabama, said goodbye, probably had never left Kentucky before, went to Alabama, got off the train, and there was no one there. There was no one there to greet him, and so the story goes that he turned around and got right back on the train and came back home. So things could have been very different, but thank goodness he came back. So he decided to take his chances with Coach Rupp, and it all worked out pretty well for him. So he had a wonderful success at UK. So when all that was over, he thought, well, I'm going to keep doing what I love, and that's basketball. So numerous offers came in, but the only one that meant anything to him was the opportunity to come back to senior high. So so Mr. Basketball married Miss Kentucky, and they picked up and they came to Owensboro. And so this is where the roots were laid, and Ted and I grew up here and came to senior high, and it was just, we had the time of our lives. And Dad loved every single minute of it. He loved the kids every year. He loved all the relationships with other teachers and other coaches, and those were his lifelong friends. And he enjoyed every season. He was one of those people that just looked forward to the next year. He never dreaded getting back to school. He just loved doing what he did. And we all did. We all had so much fun. And Dad always said that if you find something that you love, then you'll never work a day of your life. And I don't think my dad ever worked a day of his life. So thank you very much.
You know, when you played baseball for Mr. Hicks, you'd go into the dugout and you'd see where you were in the lineup. Today I'm batting last, and I deserve to be last. You guys are awesome. I tell you what, all the inductees here and families should be very proud. You know, when David Johnson called me, I hadn't talked to David in several months, and I guess it's okay to say, I thought he butt called me with the cell phone. And so I was in there getting ready to do dictating, and I get the phone. Yeah, Dave, what's up? He said, I want to tell you something. And Pam Smith, right, if you hadn't started welling up a little bit, I wouldn't. I'm going to start doing it too. But and he told me that I was going to be inducted into this Hall of Achievement. And I've been fortunate enough to have been involved in a lot of things in my life and been blessed. You know, I feel like Jimmy Stewart in It's a Wonderful Life, you know, with the, you know, every time you get ready to do something, you think, well, should I be doing this? And somebody taps you on the shoulder and says, yes, let's go through it. So when David told me, I might tell you, I started crying. I sat down in a damn chair and couldn't get up for a while. It was very touching. And then I get this letter from Lori Thurman, and I see on the letterhead, John DeLacy, Chris Gaddis, Pat Hume, all young guys that I had an opportunity to be involved with as they were growing up. And if you haven't noticed, students, do you get kind of the feeling of a family atmosphere with all these people? I mean, Army's still trying to get a diploma from Sutton. He goes in He's a persistent guy. And Coach Watson, he couldn't find a train. But we still all love him. Pam Smith Wright, she's going to quit. She ended up running track. I mean, and it's a family atmosphere that what OHS does. Now, I left for a few years and coached at Owensboro Catholic. I was called a traitor, everything else, but my involvement with youth has been the most gratifying thing in my life. I'd like to introduce my mom. She's an octogenarian, and she's been a pretty tough lady.
I am blessed to have known all these people. I am blessed to have gone to senior high. And if you wouldn't mind, I want you to finish with this with me. I'm going to say, hey, my name's Army Armstrong, and I'm a Red Devil. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. My name's Army Armstrong, and I'm a Red Devil. Thank you all very much. Enjoy yourself.